Robert Plank Show, episode 109. Flip websites using Amazon Associates and Amazon FBA with John Haver. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Robert Plank Show. We're here today with John Haver. John Haver has been building online businesses for the past 7 years and just recently left his day job to pursue online entrepreneurship full time. His current focus is turning Amazon affiliate sites into FBA businesses and has generated a 500% ROI. I don't know about you guys, but I'm super excited. How are things today, John?
Yeah, things are great. It's a nice sunny day here, and just looking out over some water at my new kind of office setup, and it's fantastic.
Just living the dream. Cool. So, I understand that you're going to be telling us today about affiliate sites and about Amazon FBA. So, could you get us all caught up and tell us about what exactly is it that you do?
Sure. So, I've been, I think like probably a lot of people, I started out online just kind of as a little bit of a hobby, instead of playing computer games, I was building a business, building up websites. Got more serious about it when my son was being born a few years ago, and the model I picked at the time was, building up authority sites, content-driven authority sites that make money by driving people to Amazon or other sites, but primarily Amazon Associates was my main passive income portfolio sort of income stream. One of the sites that I picked up, I like probably most people on the podcast had been hearing about FBA and how great it is. And I again, probably like most people, always had the struggle of, chasing after too many shiny objects. And so I always sort of swore to myself that I wasn't going to jump into FBA until I had a competitive advantage. And then when I was looking through, analyzing some of my sites in my affiliate portfolio, one of the sites I noticed was driving a lot of sales of a product that I was pretty sure was private labeled. And so I just flipped that model and said, instead of sending traffic to Amazon to a non-discrete product, I would send traffic to Amazon to a product that I was importing. And so I used an Amazon affiliate site to drive the growth of my FBA business that I started.
And I like a lot of what you just said there and a lot of your thought process as far as like you look at the portfolio you have and you look at the competitive advantage you have because I don't know about you, but a lot of the people that I kind of just like, chit chat with and my peers and people like that, they'll build up a site like you said, like an authority site, for example, and they'll just kind of dabble a little bit and kind of play around, and then they'll get a little bit of traction. But it seems like, especially with stuff like Amazon and Amazon Associates and FBA and Kindle and pretty much any hot like high traffic marketplace, there's always the slap, right? And I think that what I see a lot of are people, they kind of luck out after trying enough experiments, they luck out into something good, but then they get slapped down a little bit, and then they just kind of completely give up. So I really like what you just shared there, how you had this site that was linking to some affiliate products and getting like 5%, 15%, and then you said, okay, well, the traffic's going from A to B anyway, so I might as well just cut out the middleman, so that way you get the same, or get more money from the same traffic. Is that right?
Exactly. With Amazon Associates, when the account's big enough, you're getting 8%. And, my goal was to turn as many 8% into, still make that 8%, but also make, whether it's 30% margin or 40% margin on my physical goods. So turn as many 8% into 38%.
Well, cool. So, how comfortable are you with sharing like some numbers or like niches, or how detailed do you want to go into this case study?
Yeah, sure. I'm happy to share numbers. Because there was a sale, I can't share much details about I can share that it was kind of a fashion clothing product. So I can share that. But as far as, the numbers, I share, tons and tons of details about it at my website, Authority Website Income, and happy to share all the numbers here. So in for my site, I started in September. So I tried to kind of analyze it from a standpoint of if I was starting flat in September and just bought the site that I owned, at fair market value, the website that I acquired, plus then I went out and bought another website because I figured if one website was good in this space, then two should be even better. So kind of with a total investment, including investing into the product, of $50,000. So definitely not chump change, but $50,000 investment into an affiliate site plus physical goods. And then 8 months later, I was able to sell that plus the earnings and generate a $350,000 cash into my bank account essentially between the profit for the months that it was operating as well as the ticket price. So that was a pretty sweet return, and
Oh
that
yeah.
sort of validating a model that I think is pretty interesting.
And that is cool. And it's like I don't know, like the numbers that you're sharing, it's like crazy real estate numbers almost, right? And so, I mean, I'm really curious about that. I'm curious about like how you located a site to buy for that amount, and like were you looking at, was that your budget? And like, I mean, what kind of criteria were you looking for? Because sometimes I'll look on, say, like Flippa or something, and they'll have sites, for $100, $200, $500. So could you tell us about how you acquired that site in the first place?
Yeah, so the site that I acquired in the first place was actually from the individual that I ended up partnering with on another business where he goes and actually builds these affiliate sites for other people to buy at, and then that's at Brand Builders. And so that site had come to me through my audience. But if I were to go out, as I have since then, to kind of try and rinse and repeat this model, the metrics that I'm looking at is, I'd like a site that's doing about, at least $2,000 a month of fairly focused sales on Amazon, or $2,000 a month income of fairly focused sales. Meaning, if you have a general health site that's selling products in a ton of different products, it's not going to have kind of the focused energy that you need to be able to drive the sales of whatever product that you import. So kind of the high level metrics that I'm after are, kind of $2,000 plus in income, and then a month in income, and then it's selling a lot of one specific, a specific product that we can definitely private label. And if it's doing that, then I'm pretty comfortable with moving forward.
So would you say that's kind of your business model now? Is you find these sites where like they're selling Amazon affiliate links, and you say, okay, my criteria 2K a month at least, focus sales, and then do you also look for something in their library that you can convert into an FBA product?
Yeah, that's exactly it. The focus sales of a product that I have a good chance of being able to convert. It is it. I am still testing this model out. I've done it once successfully. The second time I went to do this, the site had a substantial drop in earnings, so it really kind of went down to about 25% of the expected earnings. So that really sucked. And that's still a slow process on building that site up. And then I'm doing a similar model on some other sites. So is it my mod? It's definitely a very big focus area for my business right now.
And that's really cool because I mean, like, I don't do any buying and selling of websites, but just from when you hear about people talk about this kind of thing, they're always looking for like the built-in weakness or the built-in like untapped opportunity. So I
Yeah.
mean, that's a pretty easy opportunity to spot there. And so I'm glad that you brought up that. Well, I'm kind of glad, but that one of the sites you bought kind of dropped in income, and that's something that I don't know. I'm always kind of concerned about just from casually looking at some of these sites for sale. That, well, they show these earnings, but how do I know that they don't have some kind of outside traffic or they're just propping up the numbers in order to get a sale? So could you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, and I mean, I wish I knew more. I mean, I fully trust the person that we bought the site from. It's just it's one of these things where the earnings per visit, the traffic has performed as expected. It's just been the earnings per visitor has been substantially less than what had been planned. There were some challenges with link tracking at the start, but we think we got all that sorted. And so it's just one that it's unfortunate, but it does seem to happen sometimes. And I've so far been unsuccessful at really being able to pinpoint, what the heck happened? What was the difference? Why is it, the clicks seem to be the same. It's just the traffic is converting so much worse. Maybe it was a market shift that I just didn't detect and he was able to detect before he sold, and that's why he sold. I wish I knew more right now, but it's kind of one of those things, if ideally you don't have losers, but I mean, if you're going to be, investing in anything, some are going to be successes, some are not going to be as big a success.
Right, like a little bit of a gamble. And it's almost like you bought a house and then the next day or in the next month they built a Walmart down the street and just like plummeted the value, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Well, cool. So, I mean, okay, so you went and you found the site that had all like a couple of criteria that you wanted, and you bought it for 50K, and you went ahead and turned around and sold it for 350K, and then you have this new site that's a little bit more of a fixer upper. So, I mean, what are your plans moving forward as far as this whole site flipping thing?
Yeah, so I'm continuing to be, in the market for Amazon associate sites and continuing to look for opportunities to, try and really build my, especially now that I've been full time, really build my team to be, try and be as world class as possible in both the Amazon associate sites. I've got a lot of experience in that space, and then continue to build up my skill set in the Amazon FBA space. And I think that model gives me a lot of flexibility and robustness from potential Amazon slaps in whatever form that takes, whether it's an associate account getting shut down or a seller account getting suspended. I think that, my ability to drive off Amazon traffic is a sort of a strong selling point for this model.
And do you have any plans for any other ways to monetize aside from associates and FBA?
Yeah. So with the traffic, there's a few benefits to this strategy, but we're starting to send them through. I'm still involved in the one web business that we sold that still has a ton of traffic, and we're starting to send people through an email capture sequence to get them onto our email before we send them off to Amazon. And in exchange for that, they get a small coupon, which drives up our conversions once they do get to Amazon. While at the same time, we're collecting, up to kind of 100 email opt-ins a day, and so we're looking to monetize that audience with other offers.
That's cool. And any retargeting, any social media stuff?
Uh, Not There's certainly opportunity there. It was just prioritized low on kind of the stuff that I was going after quickly. I think especially now that we're getting our bit more of a funnel set up, there's a lot of opportunity to get our retargeting and some other paid traffic opportunities.
But only so much time in the day, right?
Yeah, exactly. That we, especially with the kind of a potential sale, my idea of this whole business was to pull the build it, sell it, repeat model off, and try and get this. One of the challenges with an online business is, there's such high profit margins in them that the challenge is in the ability to reinvest at a predictable and similar rate of return. Paid traffic, you can certainly do that, and that's not the world that I've unfortunately played in to some extent. But so that was the model that I'm trying to find, and with it being a sale, I just hadn't pursued those opportunities yet.
Okay, I mean, fair enough. So if someone is looking to kind of replicate what it is that you're doing, and I mean, I know you mentioned that that first site you lucked into it because you had a contact. So if someone was looking to kind of like follow in your footsteps and take a couple of steps to go from locate like an undervalued online property and buy it and turn it around and sell it. I mean, what do they do? And if they look at I don't if they look at some kind of marketplace or something and they see, for example, like a fashion or clothing site, I mean, how do you differentiate all these things for sale with what they should grab?
Yeah, it's tricky. I mean, that's what I've been discovering to be the biggest bottleneck to this model is the good websites that fit the model for sale. So a great marketplace for sites like this is Empire Flippers. Flippa, you got to be able to weed through a lot of crap there. FE International is great as well, but usually a bit of a higher price point. So Empire Flippers for kind of a under 20K investment into a site, that's definitely the place I would say. FE International again, really good. Um, and then as far as kind of like doesn't meet the right criteria, I talk a lot about that on my website where I try and provide exactly here's what I did, here's what I look for, here's what I'm doing now, and to kind of help your audience on what you're looking for. It's just a product that you can. If there's a website that's focused on selling a specific product and that product is available to be sourced on Alibaba, then that's kind of the key.
Okay. And I mean, I mean, when you do your research, do you like keep a spreadsheet or do you just kind of look around until something interests you?
Look around till something interests me, and then I definitely have. I'm a bit of a spreadsheet nut, and I definitely have a ton of spreadsheets that I fire things into to determine the the potential profit of that conversion.
Okay, so you eyeball it to just to find something that captures the interest, and then the spreadsheets for the deeper research.
Yeah, definitely.
And then, I mean, out of curiosity, I mean, we're starting to run out of time here, but when do you, I mean, how do you know like when to cut something loose, or should you cut something loose as opposed to keeping the profits going? And how did you price? I mean, how did you decide? Okay, I'm going to price this at $350,000.
Yeah. So the 350 was the this monthly sales, that the net profit plus the sale price. And so there's a fair the marketplaces are reasonably well developed for determining what the multiple is. My so the reason that I decided to sell as quickly as I did, even though if I had held it for another 6 months, I would have been making the money plus increasing my multiple, was that I believe the steepest, if you plotted the rate of return versus time, with this business strategy, that steepest rate of return is in the initial conversion to FBA. And so the dream scenario is that there's always deals that are coming that I can reinvest the money into, and I'm keeping that money on the steepest part of the curve.
Okay, so you're just rolling full steam ahead then.
Yeah, that's the. I mean, that would be the ideal scenario. It's not quite working out that way because of the deal flow, and sites don't always perform as we expect them to perform. But I'm continuing to work through those bugs so that we are continuing to go full steam ahead.
Awesome. And I think that, yeah, like a few years ago I heard about some guy, and he kind of did something similar to what you're doing, and it just kind of blew me away in the like just like the thought process. And I think it was some kind of situation where this person, I think he'd like bought a website that sold a WordPress theme, and then he went and hired some employees to fix it up, and then it got to the point where he was trying to sell it for something like, I don't know, like $50,000 or some kind of precise number, and then people were trying to lowball him and trying to buy it for like 20 grand or 30 grand, and he was like super, I don't know, kind of annoyed because it was like there's this property that's worth X number of dollars, and even if someone tries to undercut him, 10%, 20%, that's like if someone tries to buy your house for 20% below what it's worth. And it's kind of like a cool whole like unexplored area that I really like, where you guys, like, you just, instead of starting this whole thing from scratch, right? And everyone teaches about, say, like Amazon or FBA or associates or whatever, to like, use this page builder, use this software, and so you're just finding something that's already been built up and making it better.
Yeah, and we're certainly starting, because our biggest bottleneck right now is the deal flow on the front end. And I come from building a website, passive income portfolio kind of background, that we're building sites with the intent of, once they have enough traction, of converting them to the FBA business. So we're trying to do both to get those sites on the front end, both building and buying.
Right. Yeah, so that way it's all very scientific. So, I mean, as we're winding down this call, could you tell us what you see like the number one mistake all these website buyers and sellers making?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the same mistake across, whether it's Amazon FBA someone's committing themselves to, or whether it's building up an affiliate site, or investing in a site. What a lot of people that move into the space, and I'm absolutely guilty of this when I started as well, but it's a combination of both moving too slow, and not fully committing to being successful at the process. So a lot of people, and myself included, it was like, oh, this is kind of cool, and kind of half commit to it, and then kind of you know don't do everything that's needed to be successful. And as a result of that, they're not successful. And then they say, and myself included, I'm not throwing stones here, but I say like, oh, see, it didn't work. Told you. Versus somebody that really just commits that this is going to be successful no matter what, and they set up the processes to be successful. Those are the ones that whether it's FBA or building an affiliate site or buying websites, they seem to be the ones that make an online business successful.
It's like that saying, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.
For
A-
sure.
And I like that about your message, and that kind of comes full circle because you were telling us at the beginning that you were kind of doing this and that, and kind of taking your time. But then once your son was born, then that really pushed you into action to do everything that needed to be done.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, cool. Well, I really like everything you have to say. You seem like a smart guy. You have a lot of great advice. I like your message. So, could you tell everyone where they can find out more about you and sign up for your list and buy from you and all that good stuff?
Yeah, sure. I mean, there's kind of two main places to see me. My main site where I talk about, all the different things that I have going on is at authoritywebsiteincome.com. And then the second place is, if you're interested in kind of what I just talked about, from buying an affiliate site and then building it, converting it into an FBA business. A lot of people were interested in what we were doing, and then I partnered with a guy that I ended up actually buying the site that I just talked about from the case study in, and we now build affiliate sites for people, and that's at brandbuilders.io.
Awesome. So, John Haver, Amazon FBA, lots of cool stuff. I'm super impressed. So, everyone go check out that website right now. And thanks for being on the show, John.
No problem. Thank you. Thanks for all your podcast.